In today's video, we're going to be having a look at the new 1.4 update that's just released for the Tuya v2 integration. Check it out. What's going on, guys? I hope you're all doing well. Tuya have just released the 1.4 update, which contains some new features, some new fixes, and a couple of other little bits. But before we dive into those features, let's have a quick look at some of the minor changes that were made in version 1.3.1 and 1.3.2. Both versions 1.3.1 and 1.3.2 were both minor updates, but they did both bring a couple of extra things to the party. With 1.3.1, we gained the support for a couple of extra new devices, so we now have access to the circuit breaker and luminance sensor. There were also a couple of bug fixes, and there was a new feature, and this new feature removed the need for the region field when setting up the Tuya v2 integration, so that one was super handy for anyone that was struggling with actually inputting a region and getting it to work. With 1.3.2, we also gained access to a few new products. We got access to the air purifier, the lock, and the diffuser. And just to point something out, just because product support gets added for a set device, so let's take the diffuser for example, just because support's been added for the diffuser doesn't mean that your diffuser is going to work 100% with this integration. And the reason for that is because there's so many different manufacturers and brands creating different diffusers. Some diffusers may have different settings and options to others, and the default settings that are added for that diffuser in the integration may not be compatible. So if you find that when you add your device, it's missing a few features or settings that you can see in the Tuya and Smart Life app, or even in the API, then it will just be that these features and settings haven't yet been added to the integration. And the quickest way to get these added is to open up an issue for your set device. And we'll come back onto opening issues in just a minute. Wrapping up 1.3.2, we also got a couple of new bug fixes, and something else that I should point out here is we're actually looking at the changelog, which is available on the official Tuya GitHub. And I will have this linked in the description below, but just in case you want to see this information and have a little read of it yourself, you can just head over to the Tuya GitHub, and on releases here, if you just click releases, it will take you into the release notes for all the Tuya updates. As well as all the information on all the changes and updates, you can actually view the information on the fixed issues. So for here example, if we click this issue for the PIR sensor, we can then see all the information about this bug, and if we wanted to, we could have a read of the history and we could find out what was done to actually fix it. So if you're interested in that kind of a thing, it's all publicly accessible and you can go and have a read of that in your own time. Moving on with today's 1.4 update then, we've also got some new features and new fixes. So feature wise, we now have access to scenes, and if you were using the original Tuya integration, you'll be happy to see that scenes are now available in the v2 integration. In my opinion, now that scenes are available in the v2 integration, it pretty much puts it on par now with the old integration, as you now have access to more devices in v2, and now you also have access to devices that are currently not available by using scenes. And yes, there are bugs in v2, but it is still only in beta. Scenes are definitely going to make a lot of users happy, as it's going to allow you to make use of devices that have no planned support or aren't supported yet. We now also have access to ceiling lights and full access to the diffuser's capabilities, and you may have just remembered me just talking about diffusers briefly on how products can be added and they don't have full access to all the settings and features. Well, this update adds all of those features for diffusers. I think the new HomeAssistant select entity is now also being utilized by the v2 integration, so anything that can give you multiple different selects can now be dynamically generated by the select entity. There's also been a few new translations for the integration, which is great because it means it's going to be more accessible to more users. Moving on from the new features to the fixed issues, we had an issue fix for ceiling lights, and we also had an issue fix for add-in scenes, which is actually one that I created a few weeks ago. So let's have a look at that now. So we'll click on it and step into it. We can see my initial issue wasn't actually anything technical, it was more of just a question for the developers, so I just asked if scenes were going to be added to the integration. And we can see it got labelled up as an enhancement, and I had a reply from the developers saying that they will consider it, and obviously they did consider it and it's now been added in. As well as updating the integration, Tuya have also been working on and maintaining the GitHub pages, adding more information and more documentation. In addition to creating your own issues, sharing device drivers you've written yourself, or submitting pull requests, you can also sign up to join the Tuya beta test program. The Tuya beta test program is going to allow you to sign up for a Tuya developer account, which is going to have access to a couple of development modules which have HomeAssistant development in mind. I think the idea behind it is to try and reward the people that want to create and contribute towards the integration. If you haven't created an issue and don't fancy developing and sharing your own device drivers, there is now a section on here for voting on new drivers. So come and check this out and leave your vote in the GitHub comments. This is going to let the developers know what the most popular driver is and they can get to work on it. There's a ton of information now available at the wiki, so you can read all about how the actual V2 integration works, or if you wanted to, you could read up on how you can actually develop your own driver. All of this information is constantly expanding and constantly being updated, and again, I'll have that linked in the description below. Go and check it out, it's a great resource. So we had a quick look at what was new with the minor updates, we've had a quick look at 1.4, and we've also had a quick look at some of the new GitHub pages. So now we're going to have a look at how you actually update to 1.4, and we're going to have a look at some of those new features. And if you're not already, hit that subscribe button and ding dong the notification bell. You'll then be alerted to any future video that I do. For this video, I'm going to be assuming that you've set Tuya V2 up using hacks. Now you can manually install it, but you'll then have to manually manage the updates yourself. Whereas if you use hacks, you're going to see this little update here, and we're going to be able to update through hacks. So in your HomeAssistant, you're going to want to open up hacks, and you should see a pending update for Tuya V2. So I can see here, I'm currently running version 1.3.2 and the latest version is 1.4. So if I click on that, we'll then be presented with a little screen of what's new. So we can see here those new features that we spoke about earlier and also the issues that were fixed. Also a massive thank you to these awesome dudes for contributing towards the integration. From here, we're going to just press this update in the bottom right corner. Once that completes, we'll see in the information here that we're pending a restart. So if we just press that, it's going to jump us into our configuration and we're just going to click restart. Once your HomeAssistant comes back to life, we're going to head into configuration and integrations. And then you'll probably see something like this telling you that it failed to set up the Tuya V2 integration. If you check your logs, you'll probably find something like this telling you that it's got a key error. Now, I don't know if this was a break-in change by Tuya or whether it's to do with the API changes, but the only way that I found so far to actually fix this issue is to actually just remove the integration and then re-add it. This video was recorded for version 1.4, so if it is a bug, it could potentially be fixed in version 1.4.1, so you won't need to remove the integration and it will just work. And if it was a bug and you're from the future and you're watching this and yours is now working, good job. But for everyone else, I'll check with Tuya and I'll let you know the outcome in the description below. And hopefully you remembered that the V2 integration is in beta, so hopefully you've not tied all your automations and scripts to those devices and entities. But anyway, let's remove and re-add this. So we're going to choose the three dots in the bottom right corner here. We're then going to choose delete and OK. And from here, we're going to press the add integration button in the bottom right corner. And then we're just going to do a search for Tuya. And we're going to press Tuya V2. For the Tuya Cloud project type, we're going to leave that as 0 and we're just going to press submit. And just to recap, you get your access ID and your client secret from the Tuya IoT platform website. So grab those and enter them in here, and then you're going to want to enter the account information for your Tuya or Smart Life app, and then we're going to press submit. You should then hopefully be presented with a success message, and from here we can then just scroll down and press the finish button. Once the integration's been re-added, you should see it appear in your list again. So let's check out our devices now. And you should be able to once again see all of your devices. If you've got any devices connected to your account that are newly supported, they'll also appear in this list. So for example here, I've got the Diffuser, that's now in this list, and also Tuya scenes. So if you've got any Tuya scenes, they'll also start populated in this list. Any scene that you've added in your Tuya or Smart Life app will now just appear in this list here. So I can see on mine here at the bottom, I've got the front room party lights. If I just click on that, I can see the scene here. And if I was to click this activate now, it would activate the scene and the front room party lights would start. And as I said, any newly supported devices will also come through. So if they're on your Tuya account and they're now supported, they should also appear in the Tuya V2 integration. And here we've got the diffuser that I've been talking about for this whole video. And I can now control this with the V2 integration. So I could turn that on and off, and that will also turn the light on as well. I could turn the light off. I can go into it and view the settings. In here, we've got that select entity that I was talking about, so I can change the mode from small to large. But I think you get the idea. Lots of improvements since 1.3, and it's only going to keep getting better, especially with all of the help from the community. If you want to help out with the integration, the best thing you can do is install the integration and have a play around with it. Whilst you're playing around with the integration, any unexpected behavior or bugs or even missing features, you're going to want to head over to the GitHub page and open up an issue. Before you hit the new issue button, make sure to check through the other open issues in case somebody's got a similar issue to you. And if they haven't, hit the button and just fill in the ticket with as much information as you can. And there we go guys, that's been a quick look at the 1.4 update. But before we wrap this up, I've got one last thing that I want to show you quickly. Have you found that when you're using the V2 integration that some entities won't remember the state? So they'll turn themselves on and they'll turn themselves off, or you'll turn them on and then they'll go straight back off. Something a little like this. Well, if your answer is yes, I may have a quick fix for you. To help with this issue, we're going to need to head over to the Tuya IoT platform. From here, we're going to want to choose Cloud, and we're going to want to choose My Services. In the little search box here, we're going to want to do a search for device status notification. So if you just start typing that, you should see it appear. And I can see that here, so I'm just going to press it. And from here, I'm going to want to press subscribe. This is then going to take us to what looks like a payment page, but we're going to select Trial Edition, and we're going to press Buy Now. This is a free module to subscribe to, so you shouldn't be entering any card details or anything like that. It's free. And we can see there that the total due is nothing. We're just going to press Submit Order. And with that done, we can just close this tab. Back on our IoT platform tab, we're going to click Go to Authorize. And in the drop-down menu here, we're going to want to choose our project. So in my case, it's Tuya V2. And I'm going to click OK. And I can see that that's appeared in the authorized projects list. So I can close this down now and head back to HomeAssistant. And back in HomeAssistant, we're going to just need to do a quick restart. So I'm going to press Restart and OK. Once your Home Assistants come back to life, you're going to want to head into your integrations and into Tuya V2. You're then going to want to choose one of your Tuya V2 devices. And now when you toggle those on and off, they should be near enough instant and they won't keep toggling back on and off by themselves. And this will work for any of your Tuya V2 devices, so they should now all be a bit quicker and more responsive. Hopefully that tip's been useful to somebody. If that tip happened to help you out, then let me know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button. And if you're new around here, then hit that subscribe button and ding dong the notification bell, and you'll be alerted to any future video that I do. I'm going to be following the V2 integration project closely, and I'll be creating more videos as and when the updates release. If you're interested in another Q&A style video, kind of like I did with the last Tuya video where I asked the Tuya developers questions from you guys, then let me know some questions and I'll put something together. As always, a massive thank you to these awesome dudes. These awesome dudes are my Patreons. If you're interested in supporting my channel and becoming one of these awesome dudes, then there'll be a link to my Patreon in the description below. If you're interested in staying up to date with what I'm doing, or maybe want a sneak peek at some upcoming content, then be sure to check out my Facebook and Instagram pages. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.